every decision you made today moved you closer to your purpose? Let's talk about alignment, values, and the daily power of synergy. It's an incredible feeling when everything clicks, when your energy, your work, your family, and your mission are flowing in the same direction. That's synergy. And it doesn't just happen on accident. It's created through intentional decisions made one aligned step at a time. And in today's episode, I'm going to be really diving into how to use your core values as a compass for daily decisions so you can move through life and business with the clarity, peace, and momentum that you deserve. Because when you're in alignment, I truly believe you become unstoppable. So, what is synergy? What is it really? Synergy is the energy of alignment. And y'all know how much I love talking about alignment. Aligning everything, all of those daily action steps matter. So let's define synergy in simple terms. When the combined parts create more than the sum. I love the idea of bringing everything together from a mindset perspective, from a time management perspective, and with a relationship perspective, because when we, as a whole, bring everything together under one umbrella, we have flow. We have flow because we are on the same page with where we are using our energy, how we are using our energy, and the end result that we are trying to achieve. See, synergy is not just about time management, it's about values aligning with our actions. So, really determining how those core values have the same type of energy that the actions do on a daily basis. Synergy is what happens when your head, your heart, and your habits are all moving in the same direction. And how powerful is that? If you can bring all of those together, the amazing momentum that you are going to be building is truly going to be unstoppable. So we want to make sure that we're really, really clear on our core values. You can't make aligned decisions if you don't know what you're aligning to, right? What I like to do is I like to look at family, faith, flow, and freedom. And determining all of those things will help build legacy. If you really understand what each of those mean to you, you can align anything that you do, any kind of action. So, what I do, what I say, what I participate in, all matters. And when I currently make my decisions, I'm always asking, does it make sense at this point in time? Because everything has a timeline. And so maybe it's something that you eventually want to do, but it doesn't align with your current goals. So it's also about the current state that you're in, the current goals that you have, and what is most important at this time. I love having my core values in terms of like when I'm developing my mind map, because the mind map is what allows us to be able to build everything out from that centerpiece. So, one of my favorite things to do on a monthly basis is sit down and mind map all of the different activities and bring them together. And then, so we want to recognize that daily decisions help us create our momentum. Big leaps are built from small, aligned yeses. So, choosing your time blocks in the morning for deep work, because freedom is a value, is essential. Freedom is of the highest value portion of what I'm creating on a daily basis, because if you are just working, 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 and you simply don't have accessibility to the time with family or quality of life or self-care, then that essentially is driving me away from my core values. And I'm sure it would be doing the same for you. So another example of this would be scheduling date night first before filling the calendar. We always want to make sure that we are prioritizing those essentials before we are then just throwing things in here, there, and everywhere where there's an open space. Okay. Does this decision align with my top 3 values? What are your top 3 values? Do you have them? A lot of the time when I start working with my clients, they don't have their core values. They don't really understand yet where they want to focus their time and effort because the clarity is not there. They don't have those fully established. They might know what's important, but they aren't completely clear on it. And if we don't have that clarity, it can cost you your peace, your purpose, and your present. And we do not want to be spending time just simply focusing on trying to get things done. Or, like I say so much of the time, just checking things off the boxes. We want to make sure that we are taking the time that's essential to be focusing on what we need to prioritize when, and so that every aspect of what we're doing creates synergy that moves in the kind of alignment that brings us to the place that we want to be. So you can feel synergy when you walk into a room, or as I also like to say, into a Zoom, because so much of the time we are Zooming. You can bring your energy into that. And so whenever I'm hopping on Zoom, I'm showing up as the best version of myself. I'm remembering that if I'm clearly communicating, if I'm smiling, if I'm open, if I'm ready to roll, people are going to be receptive to that. They're going to be excited to want to jump on board and converse back and also participate. We want to make sure that if we are focusing on the aspects of growth and we're trying to bring everything together, then we really need to identify if these actions align with who this person is that we want to be. And it's easy to fall out of alignment if we don't know what we stand for. So when you fall out of alignment, there's a few things that you need to do. I want you to start thinking about where you are currently aligning yourself. If you're realizing that you're veering off course, repurpose your daily actions and focus on getting super duper intentional. Does this fit with the vision that you've created for your life? Does this make sense with what you're trying to achieve in this timeline? Does this help me feel like I am committing to the dream that I'm creating on a daily basis? When we start veering off, as I was saying, your habits do not match your vision. And we have to be able to realign our strategies. Okay. So, whatever those strategies are that you're currently utilizing, they can be shifted simply by making a choice. But you have to be willing and open to make the shifts where necessary. So, give yourself 10 minutes of quiet. And I encourage you to just sit down and really reconnect with yourself. I call this the pause and pray, where you're taking the time out of your busy day to say, I need to reconnect with my purpose, with my intention, and ask yourself what felt aligned today and what didn't. And when you get that kind of clarity, that helps you identify what changes need to be made. And sometimes we don't always know the how, and that's okay. But that's when we can call in support. We can work with our mentors, our mastermind sisters, or a coach. I always encourage individuals, especially when they don't have the clarity, to find a coach that aligns with them. And if we feel like we're failing, it's not that we're not necessarily trying. It's just, again, having that clarity of what is the destination point that we're trying to create. Once you can understand where you're going, you can start working backwards. And synergy in and of itself is not a destination. It's a daily decision, and you don't have to wait for the perfect season to feel aligned. You can choose it today. It's basically how you show up, how you lead, and how you love. Your life and business were never meant to compete. They were meant to collaborate, come together, and work synergetically. And if you're craving more clarity, more flow, and more alignment in your life and business, I would love nothing more than to support you inside the Dreaming Night Build Inner Circle, or potentially through private coaching. Let's build your next level from a place of peace and of purpose. I encourage you to connect with me, reach out. I am ready when you are. And in the meantime, I encourage you to subscribe and to follow us on Instagram and make it an amazing week.